who's here should be seeing me. It says that we are now on air. Um, Taking a look at the folks who are here, there's at least 10 of you, so I'll post a reminder in the chat to start the video. Play if you haven't already. All right, so for a long time we've been doing free consultations with new paying customers at Kickoff Labs to help them get more conversions. We wanted to see if we could take this a little further and start helping a broader audience. We decided to start doing the live review series. This is now the 4th or 5th in the series. A lot of the older recaps are posted and we can link to them to the people who are attending today. And it's been a lot of fun, and we've got a lot of great pages lined up to review. My only caveat, of course, is there's always a ton of improvements that every campaign could make that would also involve how the pages are advertised, marketed, kind of looking at your specific niche and customer segment. So we're going to focus on kind of the 80% changes, so the changes that will make probably the best improvement based on what we can see on the landing pages. The best part about doing this live and having an audience is taking questions and hearing comments from the page owners. So if you're here and you submitted a page, I'd love for you to post in the chat and say, this is so-and-so from this company, we do X, Y, and Z, and this is our landing page. And we'll prioritize the people that are here today on the chat. We'll prioritize those pages to go through. I have one that I can start with, but as you're posting your introductions, I'll read them, and then we'll take a look at your pages. And so you've got some more pages, like I said, to review than we have time today, so let us know if you're here and post a quick introduction and we can get to it. I also want to introduce Izzy's going to be helping out as well. Izzy is our marketing guru who's been working on our own landing pages and conversion rates, so he's got, everybody has their own different opinions and suggestions, so I'm sure he'll offer his suggestions as we go through this as well. So if you want to say hi, Izzy.
Once again, thank you to everybody for joining our webinar, and looking forward to providing the best conversion rate optimization advice to your pages. And actually, I'm very curious just to jump in and start looking at the landing pages, Josh.
Cool. All right. Well, the first thing I will do is I will share my screen. And yep, hi from Handpicked. You were first on the list, regardless of whether or not you were here or not. So as soon as I share my screen, then you'll start seeing your page. Okay, can folks see the screen I've got shared? At least Izzy. It's my test. I'm going to assume that's a yes, that you can see the page that's shared.
We can see the page.
Okay, good. Good that you can see the page. So yeah, so I really love the simplicity of this page. I love just kind of the dark handpick logo. I love that it's responsive. It'll scale down the video and the sign up form on the page. There's a lot to like about this page for a pre-launch page. What I would say, and the video is great. It's I won't play the video for everybody here, but it's under 2 minutes. It's something that's watchable. It's got a great cover shot here, so it sort of entices people to play the video. The changes that I would make to this page is you've got this really simple tagline, shopping uncluttered, but you want to kind of have a little bit of more duplication on the page, so the video explains what you mean, but maybe taking this line, this handpicked finds exactly what you have in mind, and putting it under here as a second line of a teaser. So if you're to really encourage people to watch the video, or handpicked finds exactly what you have in mind, watch our video. So you're encouraging people through the page by putting that tagline under here and encouraging them to watch the video. Then you can use this space instead to add an incentive. So one of the things that's missing from this page is some incentive saying, why should I sign up today? Like, get into Test Drive for free right now, or if that's what you're offering. So it sounds like you are, because you're saying, hey, let's test drive the page, or let's test drive Handpicked. But I think you could make that clearer up here, like here's what it is, and then here is why you should do it, and then here you should sign up. So if we sign up on the page, you'll get the thank you message. Handpick is arriving shortly. What looks good? So you're actually saying to check your email, which is good. You like shopping with friends, and you've got you customize the share link. What really works for people is giving folks incentive to share. So it might actually work out best to actually think about, could you add an incentive? Like if they get 1 or 2 or 3 people signed up, what else could they do? Why should I share this link besides just that I like shopping with friends? Even if it's just simple, like giving them a direct goal, say, hey, get 1 friend on board, and we'll give them something for free. Like basically, like make it encouraging for them to share, and you can really boost your rate. We took one page recently that didn't have any incentive, and they were getting about 20% of the people to bring on a referral. They added just a really simple incentive, and that number shot up to 60% of the people coming through. And so it's really a huge win to get people to think about the second step and add the incentive there. So, Izzy, do you have any comments about the page?
Just a couple quick comments. Looking at the headline, actually, I was writing a quick tweet while you were commenting initially on the page, but I want to mention that that Shopping Uncluttered. Actually, I'm going to share my page so people aren't looking at me while I'm talking. So you should be able to see the Handpick website as well. So looking at the headline here, I'm seeing that is awfully short, Shopping Uncluttered. I'm wondering if maybe experimenting with a longer headline to better explain the service. Shopping Uncluttered to me kind of sounds like a closeting service or like a personal shopping service. So it's kind of hard for me to really understand the value proposition that Handpick is offering here. So maybe adjusting the headline so it's a little bit, it's okay if it's 2 lines in length, no problem. So playing with the headline a little bit, and also I would probably as well get rid of these social buttons, since I don't really know too much about your company now. I mean, I'm not gonna be too willing to start following you on Twitter and especially if you only have 5 followers. So I would avoid putting any kind of like social share buttons, especially if you don't have any kind of any large following, or if you're just starting out. Those are my comments, Josh.
Great, thanks, Izzy. So everybody should be back to looking at my screen now, and we should see Convey. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm going to assume that's the right way to pronounce it, Convey. And it looks like that's Reggie's poster, so he's the founder, and so thanks for joining us on the Teardown. And we've got your page up there. So let's take a look at this page. So right away, the first thing I notice when I look at this page is my eyes get the direction of my focus gets torn in several different directions. You naturally, as a person, you kind of look to the top left, so you get pulled here. But then you see these sign up buttons over here, sign in, sign up buttons over here. Then you see this graphic draws your eyes here. You've got these featured in graphic. And then you've got what I'm assuming is what you want for the primary call to action, this create an account here, is buried. So it's sort of the fourth thing my eyes look at. And that would be my biggest piece of feedback right away, is that the first thing that you want to grab people after they see a teaser headline like copyright, IP ownership, and transfer really should be this, this create an account for free. I would think about maybe centering this in this location, making the button larger in this location. I would think about turning these featured ins, maybe turning these to black and white. images on the side so that the colors don't draw you in as much and the focus is more on your colors and your brand, and you'll still get that the kudos for having that there. You might also just try it without it. I mean, do you need it, or could those featured in be further down on your page? I think you've got copyright ownership, transfer your creatives. You've got a great explanation. So outsource your work, not copyrights. Convey takes all the complexity out of transferring full ownership rights. We help creatives, freelancers, transfer intellectual property. I don't know quite enough about the problem space to know whether or not that's a compelling case. And so I think that's where I'll have a little bit of challenge looking at it. I feel like you're talking a lot about yourself. Like convey takes, your first line is convey takes, it's what we do, and it's convey takes the complexity out of transferring. We help creatives. I might try thinking about rewriting the headline and the first two paragraphs from the perspective of your customer. Say, instead of saying we and convey, say you're a creative freelancer person, you have to transfer copyrights. It's a complex process, but we've made it's a complex process that takes X, Y, and Z amount of hours. What if there was a solution that brought the number of hours down to 2 hours instead of 10? So you're giving them something concrete. You're relating to their business problem first instead of trying to sell your solution first and then sell your solution afterwards as something you can do. For the customer. So then if I scroll down the page, it's got a great, there's a great 3-step process. You can maybe use a headline that explains this is what we do. This is convey, upload content, approve content, transfer securely. And I think that might help this section, and it might help the support of especially if you change this to be more customer focused instead of convey focused copy up here, to have a headline that then follows it up and says how we make this easier, and then you have your 3-step process, which always seems very easy and simple to go at. You've got down here, so it looks like you do have an explainer video. This is where I might play with and say, perhaps the video should be up here in this featured in section, like a link to play, and this featured in section should be down here as social proof on the page. So that way you've got, you still have the featured in, but you have your explainer video closer to the top. And then you've got these tabs here. I'm never a fan of tabs hiding content from people. I actually think you're better off if you would section the page where it's just this section, then you have this section, then you have this with headlines, because you've got people who will scan the page and people will scroll down. It feels like you're trying to constrain a lot of information into a very small space when you could expand the vertical space of the page and separate these things out. Izzy, did you have any other comments that you were thinking of?
Josh, you pretty much nailed it, Josh. There's a lot of distracting elements, and yes, experimenting with putting this explainer video, which actually any kind of a video is a great medium to put on any kind of marketing site, because it actually increases engagement. You're not always going to have people who are going to be reading all of your text, which is why you shouldn't be using tabs. So you don't want to be hiding any kind of content. And Josh has said many times before, you never know which copy is going to convince people to give up their email address. In this case, I would say that this isn't really copy, but it's content. So you never know which kind of content is going to convince people to sign up. So other than that, get rid of those distracting elements, and Josh nailed it.
Thanks, Izzy. So next, I see we have Indra from Life. Actually, we have Dave and Indra. So I'll get to both of your pages. I have Dave's pages up. Dave's page up right now from Phase to Body. And so let's take a look at that page first. It's cheating a bit because I have worked with Dave behind the scenes a little bit on this landing page, so I've given him some tips already. So it's a little bit unfair, but if I were to take another stab at this, One thing to think about a landing page is people are always evaluating. It's like they're going to go buy a house or something. And when you go to buy a house, you're always looking at what could go wrong with this house. Like, what are the things? Why should I not trust you? And so they're looking for little tiny nits, and that's the stage where this page is out. There's a lot of the basics are here, but there's some little nits that might make people trust you less, or a little bit less willing to give up their email address. And so let's kind of go over those. I love the faded background image that hints at the product for a launch page. I think you're further down the road than some people are, so you've got this information. I like that you kind of repeat some screens, but I might consider cropping this top part out because it's just this repeated my dashboard, my dashboard, my dashboard, whereas it'll actually sort of look and flow a lot better if this part wasn't on the background image, because it'll look like one continuous screen and tease of information from the product. The second thing that I look at, and this is I thought the first time when I saw it, I wish the logo, I wish the text, the phase, and the body were in white so it stood out a little bit more. I think it would fit better with the text on the page. I know you kind of made this text it's a little bit smaller and darker, and it kind of matches. But when you look at it, there's kind of two different sets there's three different fonts on the page, and really there could just be two. There could be this font and then this white color font for things that are in here. And then that way, I think you have a little bit cleaner look to the page. So that's adjusting the logo to make this white, and then keeping this white, and then you can make this a little bit larger. And then you've got this great prize. It feels a little buried. That's why I said make it a little larger. So you've got sign up and be entered to win one of 10 Misfit Shines. That feels a little lost. You might actually have to make people look for that, this copy that says go in the button as a bit of microcopy. You might say enter to win, and then if they missed the text up here, they'll say, oh, what am I winning? And then you can actually introduce this like what we do here, so that they know, like, join our launch list and you'll be entered to win, then join and win, or something that implies winning, that there's a contest on the page, on the button. I think will help tremendously because it's a great giveaway, but it feels a little bit buried within the small copy that's on the page. So I might, like I said, make this font the same as this, and then take this, highlight it, maybe link to one, maybe have an image below the button, say, join us and win, something that implies that there's a contest there on the page. Does that make sense, Dave? All right. So just looking at the comments, there hasn't been any questions. I see Reggie says, awesome feedback, love the button feedback as well as the copyright feedback. We'll definitely update the copy to be more customer focused. We'll try some experiments and rearranging portions and optimizely. Many thanks, guys. Kickoff Labs rocks. Well, thank you. So we will now take a look at the LifeLogger page. So Indra is here from LifeLogger, and let me go and look at their page. So everybody should now see this page here. Izzy, do you want to have first crack at this one?
Sure. Let me load it up on my screen. Make sure I'm looking at the right one because actually I'm on lifelogger.com. Okay, so we're looking at beta.
Beta.lifelogger, yes.
Okay, well, I really like the layout in that pretty much everything is very easy to read. The form is obviously pretty clear here. I'm wondering why this image is loading so slow. This is a 3D time view. This can actually kind of probably hurt your conversions. You probably saw it loading awfully slow on my computer, and I'm not exactly sure what it does. So it's a well, looking at the page,
it's probably a really large image. I think you can look at the image sizes, and so that's a good tip for people when you think about putting image sizes on the page. Make sure that they're size appropriate. I mean, so that image space is probably no longer than 800 pixels wide. that image is probably 3,000 pixels wide, and so you're trying to serve a way larger image than is needed there.
Correct, correct. And that's going to slow down people's connections. People are actually going to be abandoning the page if they see that it's loading too slow. But I mean, I really don't have too many comments. Looking at the page, it's pretty clear what they're offering. They're offering advanced cloud-based video storage coming soon. I don't see any kind of incentive on the page other than the incentive of becoming a beta tester, but I don't see what the benefits in that are. So possibly
And
just
what happens if you sign up?
okay. So let's see here. Okay, sign up, and there's a country that's required as well, which I would imagine that it's because they're focusing on launching in certain countries at a time. There's also not much of an incentive that's placed after one signs up. There's a standard, we will send you instructions text, so there's not really an incentive for me to share with my friends. I don't know, Josh, do you want to comment on this? You want to comment further, please?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple comments when I was looking at it. So the note about the country, Indra's here. Maybe she can answer why they're requiring that. Generally, any additional required information is a little bit out of place. And if you are a Kickoff Labs customer, you probably noticed that just about everybody that signs up has a location that we record. And so if you're just trying to get just a general location of where people are from in their country, we've got country down pretty well. It's when you start getting down to the maybe city or town level we might be off. But country is fairly easy to determine, and we've got that information generally within the dashboard. And so I'm curious if there's another reason why you're requiring that, because it seems like an odd requirement on this page to be requiring country. And I see Indra says the incentives are buried in the follow-up email, but they'll put it on the page. Yep, and you can actually remind people that once they sign up, there will be an incentive beforehand, and then afterwards on the page to have some space for incentive. Oh, and you can do without. Yeah, I would drop it then if you can do without, because like I said, we're going to be giving you that information as part of our lead profiles and the magic contact data on the page, and so you'll get the location already that's there. The other commentary I'd have on the page, so advanced cloud-based video storage, and that's what it says up here, simple, secure way to manage your video memories. This line, so that line makes a lot of sense, what you're doing. This line doesn't really match. You could say that about any company. It's not specific to you. I could say that about Kickoff Labs. And we're a very different service with a different target market than you guys. So I would think about how you're using that space to augment your message or speak to the person that's coming. Like if you're saying a simple and secure way to manage your video memories, you might tug on people's strings and say, don't lose that precious video of your children today. It feels kind of evil to say that, but at least a line that relates to what you're offering there. Maybe take a line from one of the captions here and make it more directly related to your service. You could also add some smaller text to say, why you should sign up today. Like sign up today, and you'll be in our free beta. So you can remind people of the incentive right at the top of the page, as well as something that might be worth trying on the page. The rest of it is pretty self-explanatory. I would say I don't think you need the coming soon. It's in beta. There's things that aren't quite ready. I don't know that you need that headline there. I think this is just something that you're like going to be adding. You could maybe put it in small text. It just seems weird to have this coming soon because I'm not sure if that relates. I guess it relates specifically to this. But if you have a beta, then your beta is not coming soon. It seems like it might relate to the whole thing. So I might think about removing that. Everything else on the page is pretty standard. I wouldn't dig too much into it. I would focus more on the big things like the top of the page, especially this text here. that image, like Izzy said, it took a long time for it to load for me as well when I brought up the page for the first time. All right. Yep, capture precious memories now. That's a great suggestion. So Indra had a suggestion. How about changing it? Yeah, I think that would work better than what you have there, because it'd be more specific to your product and your use case. So I think that'd be a good way to go. All right. So is anybody else here that we haven't gotten to yet? Feel free to speak out. I've got us another set of pages that we can actually go to while we're waiting. So let me actually just go and start that to the next set of pages. So I'm going to pick this page right here, Body of a Spartan. I had some initial thoughts from looking at this page. I'm really curious to put Izzy on the spot and get his thoughts looking at the page, and so I'm gonna ask Izzy to take a first stab at this one as well.
Okay. Well, first I want to know if the person is here, because otherwise I don't want to be too mean.
Oh, be mean. That's why people signed up.
Okay. Well, Body of a Spartan. Let me load it up on my screen. One sec. Okay, so these kind of pages always get to me, that they always feel a little bit scammy. They always feel as if they're kind of trying to sell you on something that is overpriced and really is not going to work, especially with this long sales form copy. I really don't love this kind of layout. Sure, it works for getting some conversions initially, but if you're trying to build a real business, come on, look at this guy. if you're trying to build a real business, focusing on actually providing real value to your customers is actually the best way to build a sustainable business. Giving my best advice for this page, I mean, obviously this person is trying to make $25 per sale, but I would actually probably just give this away for free. Maybe even cross out that it costs $25, so it would cost you $25, but if you just give me your email address, you'll be able to download maybe even a 7-page, like a chapter from it or something like that. But what I wouldn't be doing is asking for the money right up front, because you're going to get very, very few people who are actually going to be willing to pay $25, especially to a page that kind of looks outdated. I mean, these are marketing tactics that were used in I want to say like in 2002, 2005. I mean, this is just too outdated, and it just doesn't work. People are smart enough to see through this. So I would focus on creating, like I said, a strong incentive where you want to get that email address. That's the goal. People are not going to buy now. That's just not going to happen. So the goal is to get the email address so you can follow up later, and you can send offers so they can actually buy something from you later. But basically, it's about educating your customers or your user base, your audience. You want to make them respect. And what's that term, Josh? It's like respect, know, and love you, right? So that's what I would.
Yes, sorry, I was on mute.
No problem. That's what I would change. Any other comments you wanna leave, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, so I think there's always multiple opinions. That's why I love doing this. I agree with most of what Izzy said. Specifically, when I first looked at the page to begin with, I know these are pictures of the person on the page who's trying to make the sale, but it felt like when I came to the page, the quality of the pictures with the black background, it felt like I'd entered some sort of back corner or red light district of the internet. So my first instinct was to hit the back button and not to keep reading. It's not that I don't think.
Very, very true, Josh. Sorry, but that is so true. Actually, it didn't It didn't hit me, but it's so true. I mean, you're like in a dark corner of the web, and who wants that?
Or I'm on some guy's personal page that I'm not really interested in, this skinny and this big guy, because if you don't read it, that's the first thing that jumps out, and you don't realize that it's part of the sales pitch. I think the sales pitch can work. I think maybe better pictures here. I also think maybe just trying to, one of the different colors on the top of the page would have a big impact in not making it feel so seedy right away, because the rest of the page, if I ignore that, is a fairly standard long-form sales page, and this can work if you've got a sales letter. But the thing that I see when I look at this page, kind of what Izzy said in terms of giving it away and the price, there are a couple things. One is that it's ridiculously long for a sale that's $25. So even if you do want to sell people something, I always think about the copy and the sales copy as the copy should scale appropriately to the size of the sale. And $25 should maybe end about right here, but he keeps going and going and going. And there's a lot of information here that maybe, like Izzy said, you could pull into a separate download and have something to give away for free. And so the other thing this page is missing is, if I don't buy the product, there's nothing for me to do here. Because there's nothing for me to get. You're not asking for my email, you're not giving me a free PDF, you're not giving me a sample, you're not offering me much information. But if you could take some of these case studies and some of the information you've got on the page, wrap it into something that people can reuse and get on their own, then I think that would be a big win. Like I said, in addition to making that first impression feel not so seedy on the page. Here, so that would be my recommendation: is make this not feel so seedy. Take half of this information, put it in a separate download, and try and capture people's email address as a secondary call to action in addition to buying the book. The third thing is, even when you get to the section of the page where it lists the book, you find like, oh, it's a book. Where is the first section where it lists the book? Yeah, the very first section where it lists the book right here. You see, okay, that's what you're selling. It wasn't obvious. It should be obvious up higher what you're going to be selling, but then there's no buy button. Like, what if I just wanted to, oh, I see the book, let me buy it. And you're like, nope, no buy button, no buy button, where is it? I think making that more obvious would help a lot as well. So anyway, that's my feedback. So I saw in the chat there was somebody who's using Unbounce, and I don't hold that against you in these chats. And they wanted to know if maybe we could convince them to switch. Yeah, I mean, you've got, I'll pull up the page here. So Empower, the first thing I noticed is a couple things about this page. One is the form jumps up. On being on the left-hand side, I'm not a fan of it, because the first thing you see is this left-hand side, and it says sign up for early access, and it's like, whoa, buddy, I don't really know what we're talking about here. Why am I going to give you my Skype address? And so, the first thing I would do is I would switch the side that the form is on. The second thing I would do is, I'm not sure why you need this message or the Skype address of the person that's there. It seems to me if somebody's interested, you can follow up in person via email, and that's the only information that you need to get going. So I'd make the form much simpler. I'd put it on this side of the page, and then if the form is on the other side of the page, the first thing I would see is this headline that says CrowdRank Tech Startup Investing List. I don't know what that is. This page feels like it's one of those things where you, as the builder of the page and the founder of the company, you have a ton of context on what you're selling, but the person who comes to this page, even if their friend recommends it to them, has almost zero context. And the context that you're giving them is that it's not out yet because it's early access. You say empowering innovation. I could say that about any company. And then this line of CrowdRank Tech Startup Investing List. And then you talk about yourself. Drops is a platform that provides continuously updated, crowd-curated, ranked lists of tech startups for users that are accredited and non-accredited have access to invest in. I would focus, this is the same advice I gave we gave earlier to Convey. You're very me-focused, you should be very you focused, saying, what's in it for me? So I'm somebody, I might have some money to invest as a founder of another startup. Could you help me more smartly invest my money? How are you going to help me do that? Are you going to rank things for me? Are you going to make me richer? Like, what is it that what's the benefit to me? And how can you pitch it in a way that I read this and I don't see information about you? I see information like, oh, you want to invest in startups. You don't know what startups to invest in. What if startups were ranked on the list and you could get access to them? The other thing is knowing a little bit about the space in terms of what you're going after. You might take a look at some of the competition in the space, and you can competition-related products. So one would be the company called Mattermark, and so they're doing this for investors in terms of ranking startups and platforms, and looking at their copy and saying, okay, not that you want to copy them, but see how they're pitching to their customers, and that'll give you some indication of what works, because they're already out there, they've already got customers paying them, and you can borrow a little bit of learned knowledge from them. Then the other side is related products. So thinking about, if I'm this customer, what else is related to this? Like, I might be using AngelList. Like, hey, are you using AngelList to find startups? We can complement your searches on AngelList to rank those startups that you found on AngelList and help you make smarter decisions to invest in. Then I'll go here and I'll type in my name, my email. You're not going to get my Skype or my message. So I'll say get access. What happens here? This is fairly dry, so thank you for your interest in our platform. Again, this is not anything specific to you. Have some fun with it. Like, you're on your way to smarter investing, something that makes it seem like you didn't just throw this up as quickly as you did. And then this text of your submission has been received. Man, imagine if those were Kickoff Labs sharing links and you said, the best way to invest is to get help from your friends. Get 3 of them on our platform, and we'll send you a list of top 5 startups that need investments today. Just imagine if there was incentive there, and then everybody that signed up referred a friend. Boy, that page would work so much better if you only used the Kickoff Labs platform that had that social sharing feature, but you're not using that. And so, I dismiss this. I'm sure you probably followed up with an email. The email probably also doesn't have sharing links. Our email would, if you've already signed up for it. It shouldn't be a competition, really. On Bounce, they're a great company. They're good at pay-per-click pages. I think they have a great niche there on running PPC campaigns and for campaigns that are click-through pages. For sign-up forms, and especially for startups, I'm sorry, you're just not gonna. They can't match us because they're missing the referral system at the end, and that provides a huge number of additional wins for people on the site. So let me look, see if anybody else has chatted.
Can I quickly comment something on this last page, Josh?
Go for it. Go for it.
Well, aside from those comments that Josh made, I would actually kind of remove the Skype or the message. What you could possibly do is ask them a question in the follow-up email. So let's say you're sending out an auto-response message. I'm not sure if Unbounce does that, to be 100% honest, but supposing that they do send an auto-response, you can go ahead and ask for the share there, ask for people to share amongst their friends and their colleagues, but also it's okay for you to ask them a certain question, because this message to me is just a little bit too open-ended. So I would kind of focus on asking a question. However, not in the form. I would ask it in the email. And real quick, I want to point out the importance of understanding your layout. So I pulled up this page while Josh was kind of speaking. This is a somewhat variant of the current layout that we have here. but it's understanding where people's focus is going to is going to be achieved. So basically, we're looking for to direct people's attention, and for the most part, they'll pretty much end up in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. So we want to focus on getting the button just around here in the case of this form. That's my feedback for this page, Josh.
Yeah, I agree. And if you are going to ask the question or put something there, I mean, it should just be a question that's related to this. Like, give us your number one investing question, and we can answer that. So let's go to the drop, the Dojo page. Do you have that up, Izzy? And maybe you can start with that one.
I don't have that up. Can I get the? Oh, it's dojo. I didn't pull it up. Sorry about that. Dojo4.us. Okay, I'll pull it up now. Now, right away, looking at the domain, I hope that the company name is called. I'm actually getting no page found. One sec. Josh, are you able to pull up that page?
Yeah, I'm working on trying to find the right link. There was a.
Here we go. Here we go. Actually, it's www.dojo4.us.
Got it. Okay, you can go from there.
Okay, so taking a look at the page, I'm looking that it's, well, I noticed that I really have no idea what it is. Let's take a walk, or let's take on Wall Street. Okay, so discover the easy way to earn money by investing using Dojo4US. Okay, well, right away you're kind of explaining that it's possible for me to earn money, but I would like to learn more how actually that gets done, and I'm not seeing that it's explained here in the lower half. This is actually just a couple more headlines. Okay, increased knowledge. So it is kind of providing at least a little bit of information on what the service is providing. And I do like that they're saying you, and they're not, the copy isn't entirely focused on them. But I would focus on writing out a little bit more copy, maybe actually in the headline, maybe change the headline, or maybe change the tagline a bit, just so it further explains this. I know that I'm using Dojo4US, so you don't need to be saying it all over the place. Maybe just use one logo here in the top left, or just a certain logo here in the center. And offering some kind of incentive, because there's no incentive for me to sign up. You're asking me to share with my friends, and you're saying that I can challenge each other, but it's not clear to me how exactly I can do that. It says that I can keep track with the leaderboard, but there's no image. There's no there's no explainer image. There's really a lack of information that can really help the page convert people if it was included. That's my feedback. Josh, you want to go ahead and continue?
Yeah. Sorry, what was the URL? Was the Dojo4?
It's www.dojo4us. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I had the same feedback when I looked at the headline, and I see the background image you have, and it looks like you have a logo. I kind of wish the logo was on the top of that text to make it seem a little bit more real, and then you wouldn't have to say it in the text like you do. There's an element of scarcity, so sign up by October 4th, which I like, but to be part of the easy way to earn money by investing using, I don't think, like Izzy said, I think there's just a little bit more information that needs to be given up front before I'm willing to give you my email address. And I think, like I said, having the logo will add a trust factor, and then some more information. I do like the you focus copy of let's get you investing, easy way to make money. I just think you need like a second sentence or just something that says, we're going to make this really easy for you as a way to do it. So hang on one second, and we'll pull up our next page. So this Sort Money page, so sortmoney.com, and I'll again let Izzy go first here.
One sec. Okay, sortmoney.com. once again, thanks to everybody for joining us. And like I said, taking a look at sortmoney.com. Okay, so I'm seeing obviously that they're issuing a cookie alert, but normally that would only be for residents. I believe it's only for people in the European Union at this time. So it's not necessary
Yes.
to show it to everybody. So maybe you can include some kind of function. I mean, you would need to speak to your development team to recognize whether or not. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening on the page. See how things are appearing, stuff is transitioning. Those kinds of transitions are awfully distracting. Once that they're gone, I mean, I do know what to do on the page. It's obvious for me to scroll and to look through your copy. I'm seeing that there's like link items. These appear to be link items, but they're linked to some to odd security certificates. It's good. Okay, it's good to let people know that your site is secure, but there is a point of overkill. I believe that this is kind of overkill when you're just including too many SSL encryption logos. It kind of actually this kind of brings down trust a little bit, and it's a little too prominent as well. So since you're dealing with the finance market, safety obviously is a huge issue. But I think it's a little too prominent on the screen. I would actually start explaining the product right away. I mean, right away you're asking me to try now for free. I can try now for free. Sure. Let's see what happens when I click on here, and it takes me to a standard sign-up form. The thing is that I'm not really informed as what the product is doing. So I can view the video. I'm not going to view the video now. I'm more of a reader myself. So like I said, if I start scrolling right away, I just know this kind of draws me away. This is just overkill of the security. I would start introducing the app right away. So I would put this integrated mobile app coming out soon right away here. Actually, probably even include this image. You've seen how there's some home pages that kind of like insert the mobile app or image right underneath here. So it might be a good area to place an image, because this is awful empty here. So there's a lot of white space here, which could be filled with a great explainer, either copy or image. Let's see what else. Yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I agree with just about everything you said there. The first page just feels a little sparse to me, with that with this just the text. If there's a video, why not have the video with like a tease and an image that's ready to play? Why not have this font be white as well? And then, like Izzy said, I wouldn't go straight into safe and secure. I don't even really understand what your product is. I would put that at the end, and then I would clean that up a little bit, and maybe explain why those things are important on the page. That'd be my biggest pieces of changes on the page. I think having the video here to have an explainer would be big, and then moving that trust factor down, and then moving the what it is, and then why I should trust you. Think about that in order on the page. Obviously, so this is actually the last page we'll have time for today. So I wanted to thank everybody for coming out, for letting us tear apart your pages. If you're not already using Kickoff Labs, then this is my pitch to say, hey, you're going to get more conversions. We're focused not just on the landing page builder, but that complete experience with the opt-in forms, with the automatic replies, and the viral referrals. And as you heard, we'll get you insights like age, gender, and location for people that sign up. I think a lot of people here are already customers, so I thank you for being a customer. I thank you for attending, and I'll look forward to our next webinar in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.